What's up, weirdos? I'm Felicia and I like scary movies, and today is a follow-up video to my best horror moments from the 2010s. Now we're doing the 2000s. What? Yes, my favorite horror moments from the year 2000 to the year 2009. As I said in my last video, these are the moments that I'm just kind of like, oh my god, that one. Oh my god, that one. Like, these are the ones that are just burned into my brain, and I want to see if we have some of the same. So let me know if I missed any, and let me know if some of these you can't unsee. P.S. Just as in the last video of this style, this video is full of spoilers. Just the whole thing is spoilers for 10 different movies. So I have listed the movies I'll be talking about in the description with time codes. If you want to skip any, that's chill. If you don't care, let's party. But I'm really excited to talk about these, so let's freaking get into it. Okay, first one burned into my brain is from The Descent from 2005, written and directed by Neil Marshall, who I just love. And this is the movie about the group of girls that go spelunking, which is a word I will just never get over. And while they're down there, and this is my first fave moment, the monster reveal. When you finally see these cave creatures, they are so horrifying. And it's just so freaking scary, and I love them. One of my favorite behind the scenes things is that they didn't let the girls see the cave creatures until they were on set in that scene where they see them for the first time. And so their reactions are genuine and real. And I mean, I would be, oh my god, I would pee myself. They're so scary. And then the second fave moment for me in this movie is the iconic Sarah rising from the giant pool of blood. It's just so iconic. That moment for me, like, that could be a painting on my wall. It's gorgeous. Next up, let's talk about Paranormal Activity from 2007. This was written and directed by Orphan, and is actually the first horror film that Blumhouse produced, and how they made all that first monies. But this movie really, like, if Blair Witch started the found footage subgenre, Paranormal Activity kind of perfected it and just shot it into the sky. But my favorite moment of this movie that I will never forget, and I always think about when I think about demon or haunted house movies, is when they pour the flour on the ground in the bedroom and we get that amazing shot of the demon feet claws walking through the flour. Is it baby powder? No, I can't remember. That moment for me is so good because the whole movie I assumed it was going to be like a normal ghost film, and that's when you kind of find out it's a demon in the house that is attached to Katie. And I just love the reveal of it. I think it's so scary, and that's when the action of the movie just kind of takes off. And I always remember that. And if there is ever a demon in my house, I will put flour everywhere. Everywhere. Next up, and I know I've talked about this movie to the point of exhaustion, but I want to mention, because we can't not mention it, the pool scene from Let the Right One In from 2008. I've talked about this movie a bunch. I also did an original versus American remake video that I will link down below for you guys. I'm really proud of that video. I worked really hard on it. But this is the movie about a small bullied boy named Oscar and his new friend Ellie, who is a vampire. And at the end of the movie, he is being attacked by a bunch of bullies in a pool, and Ellie comes to the rescue and destroys these people. And my favorite moment is when we have that underwater shot of Oscar, and he is literally about to drown to death, and we just start seeing body parts falling into the pool. And you know, in that moment, you know Ellie is there, and she is protecting him, and she is saving him, and she is destroying all these horrible boys. And it's just cathartic as hell. All right, the next one we have, and some of these feel a little cliche to me, but we gotta give credit where credit is due. And this next one is Saw, 2004. And the moment for me is when Jigsaw freaking stands up at the end of the movie, even though he's been laying on the floor the entire film. And it's so funny because when I rewatched Saw recently for the first time in many years, I didn't remember that. I didn't remember that was going to happen. And so when it did, it blew my mind all over again. And I was just like, holy shit. Saw was, of course, written by Lee Wannell and James Wan and directed by James Wan, who have both gone on to do amazing movies. But whenever I come back to Saw, it's like the talent was always there. These guys really know what they're doing. Okay, next up. And this is a movie I actually haven't seen in a long time, but I had to put on the list because it's a moment I'll never forget. And that is the 2005 House of Wax moment where Paris Hilton gets a pole thrown through her forehead. I'll just never forget it. P.S. I love Paris Hilton. I think she is so self-aware. If you haven't watched her YouTube documentary, it's free on YouTube. I highly recommend you watch it. She is truly like the most self-aware person ever. But her going into that film being like, everybody hates me, so I'm going to go do a horror movie where I get a pole thrown through my head. I mean, this girl is brilliant. She's also a star in Repo the Genetic Opera, by the way. She sings, she acts, her face falls off. It's great. And by the way, I really need to rewatch House of Wax soon because like I said, I haven't seen it in so long, but that's just a moment I could not include. But we got to do that at some point. Next up, we have The Orphan from 2009. And this movie, I actually heard some Twitter rumblings or rumors that they're gonna do another one, but I don't know. But this movie, first of all, such a great cast. We have Vera Farmiga and Peter Skarsgård, who are this couple that decide to adopt this little girl named Esther, played by Isabel Fuhrman. And turns out Esther is a full adult woman in a body that looks like a child. Once again, this video, full of spoilers. But the moment that always stuck out in my mind that I can never forget because it's so creepy and cringy and weird is when Esther hits on the dad and you for the first time realize that there is a woman in that small body of a child. It is so disturbing and strange. And once again, that's another movie I haven't watched in a long time, but that moment is like burned into my brain because it's so uncomfortable. All right, next up we have 2009's Drag Me to Hell. The moment from this one that I will never forget. So we have this girl who has to deny a loan to this old, terrifying woman. The old woman puts a curse on her. That's it. But the moment for me that I can't forget is when the old woman appears in Christine's backseat of her car, attacks her, and then the old woman attaches her mouth to Christine's jaw and won't let go. And I can't unsee that. That gave me nightmares as a teen. It's like very snake-like and she's an old woman and she shouldn't do that. It feels so wrong. So it's just so wrong. All right, next we have a fun one, and that is of course Jennifer's Body from 2009. And my favorite moment of this movie, if you haven't seen it, please take an hour and a half. It's worth your time. I know we had the 10-year anniversary last year, so a lot of people watched the movie for the first time. If you haven't gotten on the train yet, just hop on. The weather's fine. It's nice in here. What am I talking about? Okay, so my favorite moment of this movie is watching Megan Fox in front of Needy's fridge, eating a rotisserie chicken like a little monster, and then throwing up black bile all over Needy. That sequence of her in the house that night is so amazing because you get to see Megan Fox in this freaking crazy role, and you get to see her just be disgusting and just gnarly, and you can tell she's having the time of her life doing this type of role, and it's too good. That whole movie is just too good. All right, next up we have Final Destination 3 from 2006, and for me, the scene in this movie is the tanning bed sequence when we have the two girls, you know it, I know it. The two girls in the tanning beds, they get locked inside and they are burned to a crisp. I saw this as a teenager or I guess I was in middle school, when a lot of my friends, particularly in like the dance world, were always getting tans. We're always going to the tanning bed before recitals or competitions or whatever. And I saw that movie and I said, you know what? I'm happy being a pale, pale girl. And I've been pale ever since. But dang it, that scene is so scary. I mean, I actually love the Final Destination films. I haven't watched them in many years, but I loved those so much in middle school and high school. I thought they were so freaking fun. And then my last two, I just have Human Centipede 2009. I'm just gonna say the entire film is something that is unfortunately burned into my brain. So there's that. And then the last one, I have to mention The Ring from 2002. As I've said on my channel before, it was the first horror movie I ever saw, so it has a very special place in my heart. But Samara climbing out of that TV is an image that I feel like is burned into the brains of people that haven't even seen the movie. It's just that terrifying image, the hair over the face, her crawling out, it being so scary and so wrong that I feel like everyone knows it. And so I couldn't not mention it because I love it. And I don't know if you guys saw that internet prank where they had a girl dressed as Samara climb out of a TV at like a TV store. It's freaking hilarious. It's so good. If I can find it, I'll link it. If I can't, just try to Google it. But so good. And I think that's it. Those are my favorite horror movie moments from the 2000s. I hope you enjoyed it. Which ones did I miss? I mean, I'm sure I missed a billion, but let me know your favorites down in the comments. Also, now that I've done the 2010s and the 2000s, let me know if you want me to keep going. I can move on to the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. Just let a girl know. But that's it, people. I will see you in my next video, and have a nice scream. Bye.